Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. So things we could not get to during the course of the show today, including some eclipse craziness. I didn't see this till too late. Cane's, one of my favorite chicken places, they were offering a contest to win 20 years, because it was 20 years till the next eclipse, I guess. 20 years of Cane's for free. Wow. Yeah, like Betty would have lost her mind.
That's so worth it.
Yeah, and it was like it averaged out to, when you won your year of Chick-fil-A, it was basically one meal a week, roughly, right?
It was 52 free number one meals.
Right, so one meal a week, yeah.
But you could get that all in one lump sum if you wanted to. You didn't have to spread it out over a year.
But in essence, you got 52. You didn't get a token that said, "Oh, you already had your sandwich this week. We can't give this to you."
The Cane's one, they did it on an average of 3 meals a week.
Oh, that's a family
for
feeding.
20 years. Like, that's crazy,
That feeds
man.
your family. You would never go hungry.
Oh, the Texas toast alone. I think it was a contest they did in honor of the eclipse, and it ended like midnight last night before the eclipse kind of thing. And so it was probably a great online write-in.
Great marketing ploy, because really, at the end of the day, like 52 free meals doesn't really cost you much. And even that's not going to cost them much of anything.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, Chick-fil-A, 52 meals is $150 basically that you're spending, which probably costs them somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $50, not even. I'm sure it doesn't even cost them that when you amortize it out over everything.
To 1 second of income for them.
Yeah, exactly. But 3 meals a week, if you could save it up and then like 2 weeks and take the 6 people with you, like that'd be fantastic. That was a good deal.
That's a deal.
Well, that's a better thing than this other lady. She checked out of a Florida hotel staff and told her that God directed her to go on a shooting spree because of the solar eclipse. So then she goes out onto the highway and she actually shot at passing cars. One person hit him in the arm, one person hit him in the neck, and they finally stopped her. But you're like, did somebody at the hotel be like, "Hey, this lady said something real crazy"? And that's the thing. I'm so never not sure when to get involved, because sometimes you go, all right, is somebody just say? I guess you got to get a vibe from the person. Like, are they just saying something to be outrageous? Like, I was getting on a plane one time years ago. This is before 9/11. And this guy was acting the fool, and he was like, I said it's not like I have a nuclear thermo device, And he obviously didn't have a bomb. He was just being an idiot. And they threw him off the plane. I don't know if he got arrested or not. But when do you take the threat, like, credible? Like, when do you give it credibility? Like, do you think somebody's mouthing off because they had a bad day? Or do you call someone when you hear somebody say that?
I think it's better safe than sorry, because who's to say if they are legit?
Yeah.
Well, you could have saved someone's life, and I wouldn't want to deal with the guilt of I could have changed it had I just called. So while it is scary, they also shouldn't be saying that kind of stuff in the first place in public. So.
And then you're like, well, are you that crazy and disturbed that you want to get caught, or are you just, or you're brazen? I don't know, man. The mental health things, because I know we keep talking round and round and round and round and round about gun control and things like that. For example, well, this is a story that kind of ties into all this. The family of the Michigan shooter from 2021, the Crumbleys, the mother and the father that were being tried as, I don't want to say accomplices, but negligence. Yeah, because they didn't lock up their guns, and they had bought their son a gun, and then their son, later used it to kill people in school. Their sentencing is today, I think, and the prosecutors are trying to give them 10 years for involuntary manslaughter. 10 years for what their son did. And I'm like, yes, did they make mistakes in that? Should they have ever bought that kid a gun? Absolutely not. Probably again.
Was it that they bought him a gun, or was it?
Yes, that and he got theirs too, I guess. But they had bought him one too. But the thing about it is, like, maybe when they bought him one, or maybe when they were teaching him to shoot, he wasn't disturbed mentally, and then years later he has a problem, and he has access to it. So it's so hard, because this kid definitely had issues, because this was the kid that was at the school that day. They got called to the school for some disturbing drawing he did, and then them and the school officials none of them pulled him out of school. They keep blaming the parents, like, you should have taken him home. Well, if you're a school official and you thought it was a problem, you should have sent him home. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the final say in whether someone's there or not.
Yeah.
So they're laying that solely on the parents. And I'm not necessarily defending the parents, but what I'm defending is, like, they're looking for 10 years of prison time for this family. Prison is like when somebody does something really bad and there's like a threat to society. The parents are not a threat to society. The son is. He's got life sentences. He should have them. The kid's messed up. But the parents, like, jail is not the punishment for this crime.
Yeah, it feels more vengeful.
Yes, it's like, we're going to make an issue of you. We're going to make an example of you, and we're going to stop it this way. No, you're not going to stop it this way, unfortunately.
I was listening to this story about this woman. She was telling her story about how she had a job at a bank, and she was walking in, and she noticed there was some broken glass in the window at the front, and she was like, oh, I just thought somebody had thrown a rock in it. And so she walks in to start her work day, and there was a active shooter inside, and she got shot 12 different times.
Oh,
holy cow! Did she live?
And she lived because it didn't hit any main arteries.
12 shots, and she lived?
Yeah, she lived.
That's crazy.
But anyways, one of her things is she's working on a law that makes it possible to where if you are concerned about someone's mental health, they've said something to you, or you have a child in the house, that whatever, you make a law where they can take away your guns for a certain amount of time.
That actually is that's actually being lived out in certain places. There was a guy, they were trying to serve him with this, because basically the opponents to this are like, Betty, you could just make a report on me and say, well, he is scary, he should not have a gun. And then they could then, under this law, could just come and take my guns. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't know that that's the answer either. Because now, how many times would that happen versus somebody really being disturbed? Probably more often than not, it's going to be the disturbed person. And the guy actually shot the cop, so maybe he shouldn't have had a gun. Mm-hmm. So it kind of lends credibility to that. But I think opponents of that are really trying to protect the bigger picture of what can happen. But then people that are, trying to legislate, these issues to keep people from being killed, I think their heart's in the right place, but it's a real difficult thing. I think the mental health crisis is the biggest issue. Mm-hmm. That's the way you stave this. That's the way you actually have, murders go down, is by not having people grow up broken. But that's the long-term plan. And the quick thing is you try to legislate it. So that's interesting, because that actually, what you're bringing up is actually already happening some places. The lady in this case, so like the defense attorney was like, this does not do anything to protect society at large. It's basically punitive for them. And she's like, I would have this lady live in my house, like she's not a threat. And she's arguing that I guess they've spent time in prison because they couldn't post bond for their trial. So she's like, they've already served time. Make it time served and be done with it,
But do you think that's the correct thing to do?
I do. I don't think that they should be in prison for this, but I do think, okay, well, you guys obviously had a specific issue in your house with guns. You've lost your right. Kind of like someone driving and they kill somebody, they DUI, you can take their license away. Yeah. Same thing. You guys had your chance. You did mess up. You cannot own guns, okay? You obviously can't be responsible with them. You've had problems with people. It's probably not in the best interest for you or anybody to have those. That said, here's what I think you should do, is these people should, in essence, as their punishment or as compensation for their part in this, I think you should work together with them to go, okay, well, how can we stop this in the future? How can we truly make a difference? Kind of like brainstorm this and then go, okay, this is a great thought from you. Now I want you to volunteer over here with people that have been on the other side of the gun violence issue, things like that. Get them to be in with people that have experienced something that traumatic at the hands of someone else, that they can see both sides of the story now. I think that's the way maybe you change somebody and you change their heart.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like that story I was telling you about with the woman that got shot 12 times, but she says that we need to be able to have the Second Amendment. Like, she's still for it.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
But then there's also that story I heard about, he's grown now. He's like in his 40s or 50s. But he said back when he was in his teens and going to school, he got bullied, picked on. And he said the reason he brought a gun to school, now thankfully he was caught before he took any action. But he said, I wanted people to feel the pain I felt inside. So that's what's crazy.
That's the mental health part.
Yeah, that's the mental health. And then I know we've talked about this before too, but there was some article that we read where in a school that was notorious for really bad violence, what they did was they got a bunch of dads together, and the dads would stay in the hallways and talk to the kids. Yeah. And they saw a dramatic decrease in all this violence.
Right. And none of that has anything to do with guns. That has to do with people being intentional and working with people's mental capacity and showing them that they're loved and valued, or having rules, where they're not going to be able to act the fool either, because there's consequences for your actions, and being, in essence, good parents. I mean, that's how we change this thing. And you're still, no matter what you do, this is the thing. No matter, you can legislate everything. You could take everybody's guns away, but you still are going to have violence, and bad people are still going to have guns. It's a crazy thing to take mine because you fear me, yet somebody else, you have no reason to fear me. Go after the people that are doing the bad things.
And then you're left empty-handed, not able to defend yourself.
Exactly. Because I'll tell you this, I'm good with my gun. I know how to shoot it well. I've spent time at ranges shooting. I can do it well. But I also know how to be responsible with it. I know not to play with it. But if somebody is in my house, you are in my house.
Yeah.
We have a problem. And I'm not going to ask you questions about what your intentions are.
However.
Yes.
If they see you and they're like, oh, I didn't know there was someone in the house.
Yes.
They turn around.
Yes.
And then you shoot them in the back.
That's a problem.
Then that's a problem.
I would always give somebody the chance to egress. 100%. I would always want to address somebody first and be like, look, dude, this is the situation. You're not in control here anymore. You have an opportunity to walk out now, and we're good, you know? You don't choose that, we have a problem, And because I don't believe it, sometimes when people are like, I just shot everything for these guys. Oh, good Lord. The guy that shot from his window and killed a girl turning around in his driveway. Oh, no excuse for that.
Yeah, that's
no
crazy.
Excuse for that, And those are the people that give law-abiding gun owners a bad name and make everybody scared of that. But no, I mean, that should be the last resort, because I do think people believe. I think there are some people erroneously that believe, say in a traffic altercation. Okay, we've had this road rage incident. I get out of my car and I pull my gun. I believe that they think they're de-escalating the situation, because I'm going to pull my gun, you're going to be scared of me, you're going to disengage, and we're done. But that's not what happens. The minute you introduce a gun, you escalate the situation, because what if they have one, or they want to fight, or you're forced to use it and you hit somebody else? It always escalates. That cops are taught. That is the last thing you do, and you only pull it when you are going to use it. You don't pull it otherwise if you're not prepared to use it, And so I do think that we've gotten lax in gun purchasing and no training. I mean, you could literally go buy a gun that you don't even know how it works, and you could buy it over the counter in most states and then figure out how it works. I don't think that's healthy at all. I think they should be, training people and training them how to keep it out of the hands of kids and lock it up in a safe and all that stuff, that should be common sense, but sadly isn't. And sadly, we have issues because of it. But again, mental health, I think, is how we really do stave this stuff off and change it long term. It's how you change hate, and how you change, you look at Israel and Hamas right now. Oh, what a messed up situation. Hamas started it, and they got way more than they bargained for, and Israel is not going to stop until they feel like they have broken Hamas completely. They will. Israel will not stop. And that's what makes them. That's what they have been persecuted since the Bible times. And God has had their back in those early times, but it also taught them to not back down, and to, if you hit them, they hit you 10 times harder and quick. So you've got a powder keg of a situation. But the thing of this is, we're getting super political, I apologize. But the thing of this is in that resolve to eradicate Hamas, unless you change the minds of the younger generation, all you have done is you have entrenched their hate for you. Because now you've got this whole younger generation that's growing up that's going to remember this day. They're not going to remember that Hamas started it. They're not going to, and they're not going to accept that. Well, we were just fighting back for this, because all they're going to do is go back to, well, you just kept coming after us. You killed my family. You are the problem. I hate you. And that's how we stay with systemic racism. That's how we stay with systemic violence. It's the same thing about changing kids' lives early and intervening in the gun control issue. It's the same thing with war and hate. It doesn't change until you change the younger generation and give them hope and give them something to look forward to and work towards peace with people together. But if you do things that only entrench that, in their souls, you're never going to have peace. And ultimately, too, the Bible even talks about there's never going to be peace in the Middle East. That's kind of a sad misnomer, like that people think we're ever going to solve this, because we're not. And that's going to be till the end of times. And I think that's where like a lot of the signaling of the end of times actually emanates from there, which is kind of crazy too. So, all right, what do you got? I don't want to Latatada'd it, but go ahead. You did. You just Latatada'd it.
Okay, so if I were to say to you, Wally or Gavin, man, that sounds like something you'd say. Would you take that as a compliment or a diss?
Depends on your tone.
It depends on my tone.
Yeah.
Okay, give me an example.
Like if I said something funny and you're like, that sound, or you heard something funny that was maybe like, oh, that's cringy, and you go, that sounds like something you'd say, I'd be like, oh, thank you. But if I said something like, if someone said something dumb and you're like, that sounds like something you'd say, then I would be like, oh, I'm bothered by that.
I feel like it would usually be like somebody, you'd hear a young, youthful phrase like clutch, Sammy, something like that. Like that.
Be like,
something Gavin would
like
say.
Something you'd say.
And I would take it as like you're, it's funny, but I know you also semi-dislike it. Maybe you love it, though.
Well, I found a list of the things that you can say that they don't sound offensive, but they're great insults.
Oh, okay.
So one was, that sounds like something you'd say.
Yeah, see, your eyes just told me that. You said it really sweet, but in your eyes, I saw, she's making a jab.
Yeah, there might be some body language to these phrases.
Context.
Another one is, what an odd thing to say out loud.
That one, for sure.
Yeah, that means disapproving.
I'd feel dumb.
Yeah.
You would?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I admire how you don't let your limitations affect your confidence.
Why do I have limitations?
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Or when someone says, I admire your ability to just speak from the heart and off the cuff without worrying about the consequences.
It's great that you don't care what other people think of you.
Right, yeah. That I do take as a compliment, though, but I know exactly what they're saying.
Someone can say, it's impossible to underestimate you.
Oh, that's funny.
That's witty.
Yeah.
What did Tommy used to say? Oh, man, our talent coach. I've known him for like 30 years. Oh, you would have to dramatically improve to stink.
That's a good one.
Another one. I like this one. Oh, now I see what everyone's talking about.
Oh, yeah, that's a
you were so what's the word? Paranoid.
Yeah.
That if someone were to say that in your presence, you'd be like, what are they saying?
What are they saying?
What are they saying?
Oh yeah, that would sit with me.
You'd be sitting there awake at night at 12 at night.
What do they mean by that? Yeah.
Another one. I admire your enthusiasm.
Yeah, that means you're just all passion but no substance.
We should say that to Wally all the time. I admire your enthusiasm.
But I'll just
Every
take
time he gets on the soapbox.
Yeah, I'll just take it. I'll be like, okay, sweet.
What about the phrase, because I was having this discussion with someone the other day. If I asked you, Betty, do you like what you're wearing today?
Oh.
how does that, is that something, because I think it was something that they were wearing that I knew that they liked. And I asked it because I'm like, oh, like I know they like this outfit. I want to give them a chance to
And
say,
you asked it that way?
Probably.
Oh,
they weren't offended by the situation.
Yeah, that's about
it was a guy. So it wasn't someone, I wouldn't ask that to a woman.
Do you like what you're wearing?
Yeah, that's a jab.
Wow.
Are you sure
Would
you like
you ever say that to your wife?
No.
Well, then if you wouldn't say it to your wife, then you shouldn't say it to anybody else.
Yeah, that one does feel like a jab. Yeah.
Is it more jabby than it is, not offensive? Like some of these I think you could get away with. That one because I used it. I don't feel like it's as getawayable.
Oh no! If you say, "Do you like what you're wearing?" it means you hate it and you think it's stupid, and like
you should
you're
change.
getting them to you're getting them to reconsider.
My friend Kelsey, that we all love her sayings, she'll say, "Oh, that's a bold choice."
Yes, yeah. Or the one you like too. I like that for you.
Yeah, I like that for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyways, that's how you can insult someone without it sounding so offensive.
There you go. Sounds fun.
Arrows in the quiver of insultation.
Exactly. Do you want to do birthdays?
I would love to. If you feel up to it.
If we have
I do.
If you think you can.
Oh, thank you. CJ is celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, CJ.
Yeah, CJ.
He said he loves Bibles, sci-fi, and podcasts.
Siege.
Same.
Melissa, she got this one in a little late. This was Happy Eclipse Day to all the potties. But her question was, what 3 words would you use to describe your experience of the total solar eclipse in 2017?
Oh.
So
Back
we were
in the
in
day.
we were in the path of totality, and we went to some kind of Lipscomb or
we went to the other one, not Lipscomb. We went to
Belmont. No,
The T one?
Tribeca. Yeah,
TS?
thank you.
Okay,
Tribeca.
so we went there. We went with Zach, and I think Becca was there.
Yeah.
And we had the glasses, and I think we got there early because we sat around. I remember, people in their lawn chairs and stuff. And I remember, like Wally says, it's happening. You see it happening, but you can't see a change in the sun. Like
it didn't seem like a big deal.
Yeah, I was like, if it's going to stay this way, then why did we even do this?
Why did we waste our time?
Yeah, 3 words being no big deal.
Yeah. But immediately, when the full eclipse happened, then it was eerie.
Yeah, eerie was my word too. Eerie, Armageddon, and
apocalypse.
Yeah, and cold.
Yeah. Apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I don't remember the cold thing.
The
maybe
temperature
that's
changed instantly.
I was up in Illinois, and it just felt like it just felt like it grew a few shades darker.
Yeah.
And then you went back inside when it was done.
Were you in the path of totality?
I don't remember. I don't remember caring, but then I remember the day happening, and a bunch of people are outside, and it's an interesting, situation where nobody focuses on anything but the sky. So that feels kind of weird.
I will say too that to me, comparing yesterday's eclipse with 2017's eclipse, it seems like America has dumbed down a bit because I don't remember.
Why?
I don't remember as many warnings about don't look straight at the sun or
There
we need to
probably
release
were,
the kids because they
Yeah,
might look
we didn't
at
do
the
that
sun,
last time, I don't
or
think.
protect your pets. I just don't remember it being, and I also don't remember apocalyptic talk as much in 2017.
This one, there was some funny, weird conspiracies floating around, and it was people get weird. I could see how, like, if you didn't know anything about science and it was 2,000 years ago when this would happen, it would freak you out.
Oh, for sure.
You'd be like, this is the wrath of God.
Well, that reminds me. So a friend of mine, she's got her mom is probably in her late 70s, and in the 2017 eclipse, so my friend, her brother, her mom, and her dad, they were all away, and her mom was by herself when the eclipse was happening, and she freaked out. She was calling anybody and everybody, went and banged on her neighbor's door because she was like, I can't be alone. She was afraid that the grid was going to go down. She couldn't reach anyone, and she couldn't. So my friend was telling me, she was like, I can't leave her alone on Monday because she will have another
episode.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and the funny thing is, too, it lasts for such a short amount of time.
Yeah, like 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, like, and I think that's the whole thing.
That.
Yeah, like it does, when it goes up in front of the sun, it doesn't like sit there for 3 minutes. It's still moving. And so then it's like, oh, that was fun. Okay.
It'd be great if it was something that actually, for people who, let's say, took time off to go experience this, then I could see it being a little bit more substantially worth it if it was an hour experience.
I really wish that somebody had done like the eclipse, like a picture of the eclipse online, and then had people comment, like review it, like it was like a company or a product.
3 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, because people would just the funny things people would say, like blasting it and stuff like that. That would have been really good. I didn't see anything like that. I'm sure somebody did that, but I didn't see anything.
But I will say where we were at while we were in the 90%.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it.
Tile of the total.
Yeah.
Cover up. We had so many clouds we couldn't even see it.
Yeah, I didn't even know anything had happened.
But I will say in 2017 we had the perfect weather for it.
It was great. It was really cool.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? That's going to have to do it for our Aftercast for today. And as always, thanks for being a potty.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.